Jake, I think you've got a lot of mentors in your universe. How do you feel about them? How do you value them?
Yeah, I have a handful of mentors. They are by far the most valuable relationships that I have in my life, aside from family and friends. When it comes to my career, for many reasons, what do you think? I'm curious how you see it in your perspective.
Oh, it's so great that you recognize that you need to have mentors, and it isn't one mentor, it's actually a number of mentors, and that they are important in your career because I'm so amazed at how many people don't understand the importance of having a mentor. And I would say when I was your age, I like thought I had to do everything myself. And so I thought it was almost like a sign of weakness to look for a mentor because I was supposed to have all the answers. And it's exactly the opposite. If anything, each one of us should have this kind of personal advisory board of mentors that we can bounce ideas off of and really help build our skills and improve our performance overall, because mentors can only provide a lot of great value to you in your career. But it's interesting. One of the things I find when people actually select a mentor or a series of mentors is they don't know how to maximize the time with the mentor. And there's really a couple of things I'd like to run by you and see if these are some of the things that you do.
Sure, sure.
The first thing I like to say is, always be on time for the meeting, and make sure you finish the meeting on time. I mean, I guess that makes a lot of sense, but a lot of times people are not as conscious about meeting times and maybe being 5 minutes late or running over. But like for someone like myself who has a lot of mentees, it's super important that we really are on time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's funny. That's funny. Not everybody kind of gets that. I like my mentees to be prepared with an agenda, so we can just kind of sit and chat about stuff. But I think it's actually better if we come in and you sort of say, "Hey, Jane, what I'd like to talk to you about today is I just had this meeting with a client that didn't go very well, and I'd really like to just kind of get your thoughts on that because it really allows me to think quickly about how I can be of help to you, but it also makes sure that this meeting is super useful for you so that when you leave, you have something really valuable to be able to take with you."
Should I send my mentor the agenda before we meet or right when we sit down?
It could be either. I mean, if you have a couple of big questions on your mind that you think that they might not be able to have the answer to right on the spot, or might be difficult, I would love to have it in advance so I kind of know where you're coming from. So I think that would really be great. The other thing that's really helpful is would like to hear your successes. So even though a lot of times you use mentors as the person that you can kind of bounce problems off of or issues, as a mentor, I love to hear the successes you had and what you're most proud of, because I am really invested in you personally, and I like to be able to see that what you're doing is successful for you and you've got some great accomplishments. So don't be afraid to share the good stuff and not just feel like you're coming in with some of the tougher stuff for me. Um, I always like it when someone asks me what they can do to help me, because a lot of times a mentor relationship feels like it's a one-way street, but it's like a two-way street, because there's a lot that as a mentee you can do to help me, and you already have, and for you personally, which is you've helped me a ton with Jane Knows in terms of being able to address issues that are important to millennials. And then finally, I always like a follow-up email, just so you kind of came into it with an agenda. We're looking maybe at a potential problem that we want to work out together, and then afterwards sort of say, "Hey, thanks so much for your time. These are the 3 things that I took away from our meeting. A couple things I'm going to do differently, and I'd like to schedule our next session in the next month or so, just so we can get it on the calendar." So it's treating a mentor relationship personally, because we do have that kind of relationship, but at the same time understanding that there is a business aspect to that too, and you want to have those same sort of rules of professionalism.